Hey guys, so Titan Quest 2's early access came out over the weekend, and I had a chance to play quite a bit of it and cleared every single piece of content there is in the game, in addition to actually making another character and trying to level that up as well. So I wanted to share my thoughts about the game today and help you guys figure out whether or not you should actually buy the game. What are the good parts? What are the bad parts? And where are areas of improvement that I'd like to see them going towards next? Now, whether or not you should purchase it actually depends a little bit on what you're looking for. Titan Quest 2 is in early access right now, and it only has one act. As a result, the amount of content that it has is pretty scarce, and you're probably going to be finishing the game within 3 to 5 hours. And to be honest, I'd probably call it more of a demo than an early access. Now, while a paid demo does sound pretty tough, and in terms of USD, it is a $24 price tag, I actually think that depending on who you are and how you play games, this might either be the best time to purchase it or the worst time to purchase it. Now, let me explain what I mean by that. While the game itself is $24 to purchase right now, the price is actually going to be increasing over time. As they add more content into the game, the box price of the game is going to be going up and up and up. While I don't know the final price of the game, this is most likely going to be the cheapest the game will ever be. So, if you want to get a quote unquote good deal for the game, this is going to be the best deal that you're going to get probably ever. But that comes with a caveat in the fact that you are purchasing a game that at the moment only has about 5 hours of content. So with that in mind, I think that if you are the type of person that is in it for the long run, if you watch this full video and think to yourself, hey, this looks really promising and I really want to see where this game goes, I want to try it out now, and I'll continue to try it out every single time that they come out with updates until the game is out, then I think you're the type of person that should be purchasing the game right now, because there is definitely a good bit of content to enjoy the game right now. Not quite $24 worth of content, but there definitely is a good time to be had, and also the game will be updating itself over time, and you'll be getting more and more content for that same exact price. But if you're the type of person that is a little bit on the fence and not really sure if this is the game for you after watching the video, and you're not sure if you're going to continue playing the game down the line, then it might be worth it to wait for more updates to come and see how the game progresses. Unfortunately, none of us really know the direction of where this game is going to go, and everybody who is purchasing the game right now is really just betting on the game being decent when it comes out on release. So if you don't want to make that bet, if you don't have confidence in the game in its current state, I would say that you should probably wait and see to see what the updates are and see if it's actually worth your money. While yes, the game will be more expensive as time goes on and more content is added, it's better to not spend the money at all on a game that you probably won't enjoy versus spending a little bit more on a game that you know for sure is something that you're going to play for hours and hours and hours. So with that out of the way, let's start with what I think is good about the game. Titan Quest 2 is an ARPG that I would say feels a lot more in line with a game like Path of Exile 2 as opposed to a game like Last Epoch or Path of Exile 1 that is a lot more speedier. This game feels like they are going for more of a meaningful combat type of gameplay, and also has a little bit of overlap with Diablo 4 as well, in that it is an open world ARPG. While the acts are going to be separate zones, kind of like in Baldur's Gate 3, within the individual acts, you're going to have an entirely open world type of gameplay, aside from a couple of instance dungeons that they throw at you every now and then. This means that while there is a main story quest that you're following along, there's definitely a lot of open world exploration that you can do that'll lead you down different rabbit holes and different quests that'll get you completely lost in the world. And you might find yourself exploring the entire map before you complete even a couple of the main storyline quests. And as a person that enjoys playing games like MMOs, I do really like this sense of exploration and discovery that you get when playing Titan Quest 2. And overall, I just think that the game is actually really fun to play. There was never a point where I was playing the game where I felt like, okay, I want to turn this game off right now. And while I definitely don't think that it feels as good as Path of Exile 2 does, I would say that overall it still feels very good to press the buttons, it feels good to kill the enemies, and overall it just felt very fun to be in the world, kill monsters, and explore. And I think a large part of why this game actually feels fun to play is actually something that Path of Exile 2 doesn't get right, and this game does. And it's that the trash mobs feel like trash mobs, and it feels fun to mow through them and never a drag. While on the contrary, the boss monsters feel impactful. they feel meaningful. It feels like they have mechanics that you need to dodge, and you need to be wary about your positioning and attacks whenever you're going up against them. Now, when you get more gear, of course, this will change, but at least in the campaign act that I've played through so far, it definitely feels like that while I'm leveling up. So overall, combat feels very good. Another thing that I think Titan Quest 2 does very well is their skill and class system. How this works is that each character can have up to 2 masteries, and at the moment you can choose from 4 specific masteries or classes: Earth, Rogue, Storm, and Warfare. Those determine what skills you have and what passives you use. You start off by picking one mastery, and pretty soon after, you actually get your second mastery. So you can start mixing and matching the masteries together to make your own unique class and feel. Each class has its own unique identity, and it doesn't feel like one class is overlapping with another. This is really important because when you're mixing 2 masteries together, if 2 masteries are overlapping or feel very samey, it might as well be one mastery. And while there are a good bit of choices you can make to mix and match these masteries, it's still simple enough to where I was able to understand it just by hopping in, and I didn't need to read a guide or read anybody else's thoughts on how to actually build the character. All I did was simply launch the game, take a look at the classes, choose what I wanted to use, and beat the entire early access. I think that this is very important when you're thinking about the casual audience or the new player experience, which is oftentimes where you lose a lot of people in the ARPG genre. So that's it for what I think the game does really well. Now, let's move on to the areas that I think could be improved. And the first thing that I'd say that this game can improve upon is definitely the open world. Now, it might sound weird that I'm critiquing the open world considering the fact that I said that it was one of the good parts of the game. I think that they can actually do more with it. I did find myself getting lost in the open world, exploring many different parts before even getting to the main storyline, but it never really felt like the game was leading me to explore these areas. It was more just to satisfy my own curiosity and get the fog of war revealed to have a sense of completion. I would really like to see a little bit more breadcrumbing from the game, showing me little bits of hints and information that's like, oh, I should go here or I should go there, rather than just, let's just explore the world and see what's out there. I actually think that a game like Diablo 4 with their open world has some of this nailed down with some of the open world events that they have to encourage players to go to different parts of it. And while we're on this topic, talking about things that are similar to other ARPGs, I actually think that one of the biggest areas of improvement that this game could have is definitely in its innovation. While this game is fun to play, it's not necessarily doing anything new. This isn't necessarily a diss against the game because I do think that it is doing what it's doing well. It would be cool to see it bring some new ideas to the table that may or may not work, especially when it's in the early access. Though, if innovation means that the quality of the game does need to drop, then I'd rather have it not innovate and keep the current status quo. But speaking of innovations, I want to talk a little bit about the attribute system in this game. Rather than innovating on attributes, I actually think that this game has gone a little bit backwards in terms of attribute design. While most modern ARPGs like Diablo 4 and Last Epoch have gone the direction of automatically allocating attributes for you, or Path of Exile where the attributes are a part of the skill tree, Titan Quest 2 leans more on the old school style of letting players choose where their attributes go. While this allows a little bit more player freedom and customization, I would argue that the customization provided by this is minimal and creates more confusion than it's worth. Yes, this probably means that players will have a little bit more agency on their character and what areas they want to focus on, but rather than interesting character changes, all it does is make certain stats go up and certain stats go down. This, in my opinion, is not interesting customization, and new players hopping into the game might just be overloaded by choice paralysis. Additionally, respeccing your attributes in this game is a bit of a nightmare. In most modern games, you're able to respec your stats on the fly, either for free or at a cost. But in Titan Quest 2, you have to go to a specific statue in a town, and rather than being able to respec one attribute at a time, you're only able to choose between not respecing or respecing every single attribute on your character at that moment. This makes it extremely tough to make on-the-fly changes, and the gold cost for doing so is also extremely expensive because you're respecing your entire character. I would like to see them improve upon this because this definitely doesn't encourage experimentation and customization. And while we're on this topic, while it is fairly straightforward and easy to respec the skill points on your masteries, unfortunately, once you choose a mastery, that is it. You're unable to change your mastery once you've chosen it, and I would like to see them allow you to change that mastery once you unspec all your skill points off of it. And those are the improvements that I'd like to see them make for the existing systems in the game already. Now, for what I would like to see in the future, there's actually only a few things that I'd like them to add. The game actually has a very solid foundation, and I think that if they keep going this direction, the game will be very successful on launch. But one of the things I'd like them to add for sure is definitely some more gear customization and improvements around crafting. Something that I found while I was playing the game is I kept finding these white items and really wishing that I could add attributes to them, change them in some way to make them stronger, and make sure I'm not just relying on ground loot to upgrade my gear. I found situations where there are huge gaps between when I upgraded my gear last, and as a result, I was struggling to clear some of the content. If and when they add some more crafting options or item customization options, I think that would make the gameplay and progression a lot more smooth and a lot more in depth as well. But beyond this aspect, obviously I think that the game needs an endgame. While we only have one act and we have zero idea about what endgame is going to look like, I really hope that they do add an endgame and not keep the old school style that was in Titan Quest 1 and Diablo 2, where you're just running the same maps over and over again, killing the same bosses over and over again. And I hope they have some sort of mapping system or some sort of rift system like in Diablo, where you can actually have an endgame that changes and evolves and allows for some deep replayability that didn't exist in the original Titan Quest. And beyond that, I'm just excited to see more content. It's only Act 1 right now, and we are definitely going to be getting more and more story and content. So I'm excited to see where this game goes in the future and look forward to all the updates to come. For me, was the $24 worth spending on Titan Quest 2? That is definitely a resounding yes. I really enjoy the game and will continue to play for every single update that they come out with. Let me know what you guys think about the game in the comments section below. Have you picked it up already? Has this convinced you to pick it up or convinced you to not pick it up? Let me know. And as always, if you enjoy my content, please, the best way to support the channel is by hitting that sub button. It's completely free and it helps me know what you guys want to see. Additionally, I stream every single night on twitch.tv/MisoXshrew, and I'll be streaming Titan Quest for a little bit longer as well. So come hang out with me, and I'd love to see you guys there. But if not, hopefully I see y'all on the next video. All right, guys, peace.